Welcome to the show. Just on ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ it's Monday and ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ immigration ਦੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੀਦੀਆਂ. We talk about something to benefit the community. ਕੋਈ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੇ issues ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਸਾਡਾ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ knowledge ਵਧੇ ਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਦੀ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੀ knowledge ਵਧੇ, and it's all free of course. So ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜੋ information ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ always free ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਸੁਧਾਰਨ ਲਈ not only yours but ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਲੋਕ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਨਾਲ ਦੀ ਨਾਲ ਸੁਧਰੇ. Immigration ਦੀ ਮਾਰੀ ਫੇਰ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ but not today. So ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਾਸਪੋਰਟ ਖੋਲ ਕੇ ਬਹਿ ਜਾਓ, ਜੇ ਖੁੱਲ੍ਹਿਆ ਬੰਦ ਕਰ ਲਓ. You won't be needing them today. Right. So ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਅੱਜ ਜੋ ਗੈਸਟ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਟੌਪਿਕ ਜੋ ਹੈਗਾ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਕਿ ਅਕਸਰ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਭੈਣਾਂ ਜੋ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਘਰ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ, ਆਂਟੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ, ਬਹੁਤ ਪਿਆਰ ਦਿੰਦੀਆਂ to the show, ਬਹੁਤ ਦੇਖਦੀਆਂ ਆ, and some of them sit at home. ਕਈਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਹੁਣ and they're relatively young and they've got nothing to do. ਕਈਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਘਰ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਸੋਚਦੀਆਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੁਛ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਕਰੇ, ਚਾਰ ਦੀਵਾਰੀ ਘਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੂੰ. ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਬੈਠਾ ਰਿਹਾ for the last few months and you know ਬੰਦਾ ਸੋਚ ਕੇ ਕਮਲਾਇਆ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ, but there is things you can do. and ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਣ ਆਈਆਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਜੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਣਾ ਹੈ and ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਨਾ, then what you need to do to start up if you an Asian woman and looking to go into business, that you don't have to be the stereotypical sitting at home looking after the kids. But we'll talk all about that as we go on. But introduction to the ਅੱਧਾ show ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਲਗਾ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੂੰ. So ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਇਓ ਹੈਗੇ from Asian Women Mean Biz, the organisation, Rupinder Kaur. So hello, and Panna Chauhan.
Hello.
Right. So Asian Women Mean Biz, just organisation ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੀ. You started an organisation called Asian Women Mean Biz. So tell us first about your backgrounds, about why you decided to do this, but what sort of background you come from.
Okay, well, so I spent 10 years in the corporate world.
Okay.
I've got a degree in psychology and then I did a degree in human resources and spent 10 years in the corporate world working for very large organisations as head of HR, HR partner. And then 3 years ago I had my daughter.
Okay.
And I decided not to go back after maternity leave but to set up my own consultancy.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫਿਰ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਕੰਮ ਤੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਏ?
So Harjap, after 10 years, thoda jiha akh ho gaya. You know, I was in a senior role. I was doing 60, 70 hours a week.
Yeah, but
ਪੈਸੇ
ਵਧੀਆ ਬਣਦੇ ਹੋਣੇ, ਲੋਲੀਪੌਪ ਬਣਿਆ ਹੋਣਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ.
Yeah, that's true, and I can't deny that. ਪੈਸੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਬਣਦੇ ਸੀ, ਗੱਡੀ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਸੀ. Funny story is, for 10 years, my mum and dad didn't know what HR stood for. They didn't know what HR was.
Hare Ram. Krishna Hare Ram. That's what HR stands for.
What they did know was that I had a nice car, I had a nice phone, and I had all nice clothes, so I was doing very well.
Yeah. ਸਾਡੀ ਕੁੜੀ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਚ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਕੰਪਨੀ ਚ.
Yeah, and that's quite a big thing really.
Yeah, it is for like ਜਦੋਂ you know, because especially like in our culture, ਬੱਚੀਆਂ in the olden days just get married young, you know, and they have their children early, and that's it, and they're supposed to, you know, ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਘਰ ਸਾਂਭਣਾ ਹੈ and ਪ੍ਰਾਹੁਣਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰੂਗਾ and he'll earn and provide for you, but then that's sort of really breaking the stereotype, because and this is the first thing when you go to look for a wife, and what do you ਕੁੜੀ ਤੇ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਪੇ ਨਾ ਕਮਾਉਂਦੀ ਹੋਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਥੱਲੇ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਹੈ, ਨਵੇਂ ਜੁੱਤੀ ਥੱਲੇ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਪਰ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਪੁਰਾਣੀਆਂ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੀਆਂ. ਐਂਡ there are ਕੁੜੀਆਂ out there who are earning probably a lot more than what their husbands earning, and ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਰਸੋਣੀ ਬਣਦੀ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਥੱਲੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਨੂੰ, ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀਆਂ ਵਹਿਮ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਆ. So before you start thinking, I'm not marrying someone who's been in the corporate world, there you go, look at lovely Rupinder here, she's married, there you go. So why didn't, ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜੌਬ ਇੰਨੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਸੀ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਗੱਡੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਸੀ, ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੇਬੀ ਹੋਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ why didn't you think ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾਵਾਂ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ?
I think what happened was while I was in the corporate world, I used to look around me and I used to always think, I used to always think, where are the other women? And then I used to always think, where are the other Asian women? And I remember I was 27 and I got promoted to a regional HR manager role. And all the girls I went to university with were all like HR assistants, quite junior roles. And I always remembered when I left, I just thought, I want to help more women progress in their corporate career. But what actually happened was, so many women contacted me and said, we're really unhappy in the corporate world. We don't feel like there's a right balance between family. Yeah, we don't feel like there's a right balance between our family life. There's not enough respect for our family life and our culture and our traditions. So we want to do what you've done, which is leave and set up our own business. And so as I was thinking of doing that, and I was coaching and guiding them and helping them and making sure they were really clear on what they wanted to do, I came across Panna, and Panna and I met.
Okay.
And together we formed Asian Women Mean Business. But Panna will tell you a little bit about
that. Is yours sort of similar, or is it totally different?
Well, for a start, I'm not married.
Okay,
I'm
there you
a single Asian woman.
Everyone are watching the show now.
my background's sales and account management,
Okay.
and I worked in big companies like BP, Glaxo, and Dow.
Yeah.
So, I was like one of the only few females and the only Asian woman on the team.
See, when you mention companies like that, like Glaxo and BP, University from here, we dream of working for people like that. We sold the dream, है ना? That you go and leave university to Glaxo ले काम कर, तो BP ले काम कर, तो बहुत पैसे मिलोगे, तेरी pay slip ते बहुत zero होने हैं, and not the first number obviously, but so although it, you're going to be like very rich and you're going to be earning 80, 90 grand or 150 grand or 200,000, to Holly, this is sort of dream job. So I mean, why were you not really happy there, or were you happy there?
Well, for a start, I wasn't earning that amount of money.
That's one category.
Myth out.
Leave it out.
But no, I mean, it was great for my career.
Yeah.
Let me be honest. There were great companies to work for, great foundation.
Yeah.
They had the budget.
Yeah.
You know, I did a lot of travelling and I learnt a lot. But at the end of the day, there's only so far I could go in the company.
Did you feel that was because you were Asian or a woman or both?
Both.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And at the time, though, you don't think you're an Asian woman. You just get on with it. You just get on with the job. You don't have time to sit there and go, oh, I want to spend time thinking about me being an Asian and a woman. But what I did find is that it was very male-dominated. So I was working in an industry, in the chemicals industry. It's not particularly glamorous. Yeah. But, you look around and you've not got like-minded women around you.
Right.
And also, explaining to my friends and my family...
What you did?
They were like at BP, I remember my gran, she thought I worked on the petrol station.
But
I mean, it was the name that carried me, not the sales role. So people didn't really get it. And like I said, there was not like-minded people around. And, you're striving to, like you said, you studied at university, you want to make something. I'm originally from the north, so I moved to London. Yeah, I wanted to make something for myself, but then you get to a point where you're like, what does this mean? Is this worth everything? There's something else there. And especially when my friends, who were female and Asian as well, would say, why do you work in sales? I don't get it. I don't understand why. Yeah. Because they're lawyers, the typical path is lawyer, accountancy, doctors. Lawyers, sorry to say that, but doctors, dentists, but not sales. Yeah. So, I struggled with that, but I just carried on. Right. Having said that, I had a great career, a successful career, but I felt capped. I felt my potential was capped, and I felt the company were telling me where I should go and what I should do. And I knew there was more potential in me. And I'd also get my friends, like buying a car or a house. Panna, what do I do? Help me out. And this.
So people asking you for a lot of advice.
Right, help and advice.
A bit like you, Rupinder. People are asking you for advice and coaching and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we're very distinct. So Panna's a sales expert. Yeah. And but with me, it was around career guidance, coaching, helping around that, but then also helping with business plan. And so we were going to networking events, and we just went. First of all, when you start your own business, it's very isolating. Yeah. It's very lonely. Yeah. And when you...
It's very hard.
It's
hard.
Very,
I did it, and it's hard for me. Yeah. And I was connected and, we was on radio and stuff like that. But even then, it was hard. Literally, business you start it from one room.
Absolutely.
I don't know about yourselves, but, I started mine from one room, and sure it's the same for... Yeah. And it's probably harder for an Asian woman because Asian mahal, when it comes to business, it is male dominated. Yep. Yeah. I've very rarely seen Asian business women. Now I'm beginning to see a lot of Asian business women. When I look into organisation or through Facebook, you see what Asian women are doing quite good. But before, say 10, 15 years ago, I didn't know. So if I wanted to get my cards printed, they'd be from a bloke. Mm-hmm. If I wanted to do advertising in a newspaper, I'd have to call a bloke. Yep. If I wanted to go to a TV station, I'd have to be met by a bloke. If I wanted to rent a property out, buy and sell property, I'd be dealing with blokes. And I'd just be dealing with apne bande all the time. And for that, you'd probably sit there and think, well, hold on, how's a female going to get into this environment? And especially from the culture that we come from, where, unfortunately, males do think that, hold on, I don't want my wives going out into the world, I don't want my wife or daughter going out into the world and having to go into business and wheel and deal and sit there negotiating with people, knowing how people are out there. I'd rather sit at home and, protect her from all that stuff. Business karni hai, chup karke biyah kar and, have a few kids and tera husband aap hi karuga. So, definitely I agree with that. There's a big need that there is there. And I suppose I saw that And that's just, I noticed it. But it's not as if I did something about it, but you lot just went a step further and you thought, well, hold on, actually something needs to be done. Right?
Well, like Rupinder said, so we took the decision to start our own business and then started networking. Yeah. And while we're out networking, we're looking around and going, well, actually, where are the women like us? Yeah. You know, the Asian women, and they weren't there. And for me as well, coming from the north to London, I expected London to have a lot more Asian women out there, and it wasn't the case. So I've always kind of had this vision of empowering Asian women, because I'm the oldest of my family. There's just me and my brother. My family have been very supportive of me. But having said that, I'm not from an entrepreneurial background as well. So you need to go out networking and find like-minded women and have those conversations around culture and how do we do this, and can I come to you for support and help, and not have that kind of competition as well. So my vision was to really empower Asian women into sales and have Asian women all over be at the forefront of sales. So when I started to share that, when I went out networking, all these people were talking about this one woman you need to meet. You need to meet this one woman. She's got the same vision as you. So, and her name's Rupinder Kaur. So what we tell people actually is that we've got a arranged business marriage because it was like a rishta kind of thing. So so I got in touch with Rupinder, and I was actually organising an event in February, and Rupinder spoke at the event where we invited lots of Asian women there, and have women who are already in business, so that the women in the audience can see it's not some kind of Bollywood kind of, you know, role models out there. They are accessible women, everyday women on the streets of London. You know, they exist. And after the event, Rupinder actually said to me, look, I've got a similar vision as you. Why don't we come together and work together? And instead of like competing as well, because we could have done things separately. She could have done her thing, I could have done my thing. But we actually get on really well. We really like each other. So we created Asian Women Mean Business, So
you had your own little gang. So, okay, what are the most popular businesses that Asian women do? Asian women ki kar sakti hain?
Yeah,
kehde business karti hain?
I think there's...
I know what I'm going to say.
You tell us what you're going to say first.
Beauty parlour da course. I beauty parlour da course kita paji. That's like, well, sorry mate. So about 8 million other girls that have come over. But I must admit that Saltal and Birmingham and all the there are a lot of Asian beauty parlours springing up abroad. So Asian beauty parlour, and there's a lot of competition as well. Like Asian women do. So, but I'm
sure men can go though to these beauty salons. I'm sure you're invited.
Yeah, so we don't have a need anymore for hair sort of services, I'm afraid. Or up in the end there. It's actually lonely. So, but so you know that we have seen a lot of people, and a lot of these people, India to aayi hain ladkiyan, who have started up their business, which makes me think that koi India to aayi hui hai. Or their parents when they support they're not allowed to take benefits or anything like this. They don't know the area very well. So, and they've come here and they set up a business, and another business chalta hai. So obviously dimag ta hai kaise ki karna ki nahi, and how to run a business. And kaiyan the beauty parlours mein dekho na 10 ho rakhe more, you know, so it's quite big, you know. We've got bigger businesses than I have. So you're sitting there and thinking, well, hold on, it's a simple idea. They've taken their beauty parlour, the course, which they've done in India for about 2 months, and now they've brought it here, and they've actually been very popular here. So beauty parlour is definitely one, I would say. Popular business.
I think, first of all, I think the Asian community as a whole are very entrepreneurial, and for a long time we've seen that. We've seen like the corner shops, the Asian retailers are still big businesses. I think what we're seeing now is health and beauty is still a very big, very popular. But what I think the next generation are doing, Harjap, are taking it to the next level. So if we think about people in our community, so there's women, you know, there's Bhavan Oluwalia, who is, she won the Guinness World Record of being the fastest henna artist. Or UK the Korea, ithe Jammi Palliya.
Mehendi Londiya.
But idani she's won the record.
Really?
But not only has she done that, she's actually then gone to Selfridges in Oxford Street and has a concession there and has partnered with them.
Brilliant.
So if you go to Oxford Street and there's a concession,
I was there yesterday.
The henna bar is there. And we love that. We love that the next generation are taking things that are typically Asian, but actually
selling it to the Western world, basically,
and applying some entrepreneurial spirit and flair, and looking at how they use social media, looking at how they position their brand, and doing that. So health and beauty is still very big. Consultancies are still very big. I think a lot of women are doing perhaps what me and Panna have done, have developed their skill set but aren't very happy with where they are in the corporate world and have decided to leave and set up their own consultancies. What else can we do?
Property.
Yeah.
I was going to say property because although bande walk around saying mere ko 40 ਘਰ ਆ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋ 30 ਘਰ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਈ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ABC ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਿਖਣੀ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਸੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਵਰਕ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ ਵਿਚਾਰੀਆਂ and they do all the hard work and really and the blokes just sit there and take the credit go ਮੇਰੀ ਨੌ ਆ ਡੀ ਰਹਿਣ ਦੇ ਮਾਮਾ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਸਾਈਨ ਤਾਂ ਕਰਨੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਈਨ ਤਾਂ ਤੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਕਰਦਾ but yeah so a lot of the women who are born and bred here and are married to guys from abroad they handle all the paperwork for the property so ਮੈਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ property and you know, properties for Hamisha Asians, they're always going to have a dabble in that.
Exactly. And another area is food as well.
Yeah,
so
food,
yeah.
So restaurants, cafes,
But also people like making, so we've got Angela Malik, who's in Ealing, and she set up her own deli. Right. So it's a fusion of Asian cuisine. So she's an entrepreneur. She's actually born in India, but she's a Scot. So she's raised in Edinburgh, but she's moved to West London. Okay. She's actually got two great delis in West London, and she also hosts cookery classes. So there's that side of things. There's also cake makers as well. You know, the boom of baking that's out there at the moment. Yeah. But having kind of some of the Asian twist to it.
The eggless cakes and
eggless
stuff like
cakes,
that. Eggless
cake,
yeah. So we've got someone who's doing she's doing gulab jamun flavoured cakes.
Yep.
Wow.
So things like they're being very creative about what they're doing, and what they're doing is looking at how they can create a business out of it. So how can they make money
using their culture and
absolutely
right. ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਣੇ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਵਾਲ ਐਂਡ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਮੋਰ ਅਬਾਊਟ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਸੈਟਅਪ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਟਿਪਸ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਆ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮਨ ਚ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਦੇਖੋ ਮੈਂ ਔਰਤ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਵਰਲਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਐਂਟਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਆਈਡੀਆ ਵਾਟ ਟੂ ਡੂ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਪਰ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਹੋ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ ਐਂਡ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਸ਼ੋ once again we're talking about Asian women the business ਵਿੱਚ ਤੇ Rupinder and Panna here we're talking about ਕਿ Asian women business ਵਿੱਚ ਕਰਨਾ ਆਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਕੀ ਕੁਛ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ and tips ਵੀ ਦੇਵਾਂਗੇ and they've done a lot of research as well so ਤੁਸੀਂ research ਵੀ ਕੀਤਾ about Asian women in business and ਤੁਹਾਡੇ research ਨੇ ਕੀ ਦੱਸਿਆ what you found?
Yes, we did. So what happened, Harjap, was at the beginning of the year we looked at some studies and some statistics and we found that black women, so whole community they were 4 times more likely than Asian women to start and grow their business.
Really?
4 times more likely. And me and Panna couldn't stop thinking about that because we thought we come from a community that's hugely entrepreneurial. The Asian businesses have done so much. So why is this other community more likely, their women more likely than our community? So we commissioned research. We had 211 women completed our online survey. We did focus groups in London and Birmingham. That's a community knew what is it that's holding you back? What is it? If you have a business idea, why aren't you progressing with that business idea? What support do you need to help? And we were able to get all that information and pull together a report. And what that information is telling us that our community are saying is that they want more support from other women. Okay. So they want more networking. They want the culture to be more supportive. Okay. And I think you said before as well, Asian men don't have a reputation of always being hugely supportive of women's entrepreneurial dreams. And even when
they're discouraging.
Exactly. And even when we come from families who have businesses, if they've encouraged their daughters to go in the business, or whether they encourage them to study and pursue a corporate
whether they've come from a business or whether they've come from using a shovel, they're always going to tell their kids to get an education. But then I suppose it's also it's up to the woman to take the first step and say, well, hold on, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ but I want to open up this business and ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ idea and I need you to support me. I suppose if they can put the foot down for everything else, 99% of the other items, that's sort of 1% they need to go. ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਕਰਨਾ and people go out there and do it like you've given examples. There are people out there who have gone out and done and made good businesses.
Yeah, they have, but it's all about, we should be making it easier. So the women that we talk about, and me and Panna, it's been difficult, it's not been easy, but we know that we can share lessons and make it easier for other women. The other thing that our women were telling us was, where are all the role models? So, we go to amazing events. We hear people like Karen Brady speaking, Michelle Moan, all these really amazing women, but they don't look like us. They're not from our community. They're not from our culture. Where are the women from our community and our culture?
Not very much of them,
few
and far between.
They are there.
But I don't think they just come out into the limelight, or whether they're not highlighted.
This is it. There's no exactly. What's the platform for these women to be there? and out there. And as we said, this is what we were questioning when we started our businesses, that there's no like-minded Asian role models out there and that we can go to and be like sisters, like Benji kind of thing together. You know, we don't have that. So this is another reason why, well, our research has proven that there's not enough role models, and that's something that we feel really strongly about, that we want to create. And not only just for existing business women, but also for the next generation. So, I mean, Rupinder's got a daughter. What's it going to look like for her when she finishes school, university education? I mean, we're not discounting education. We're just saying that there's a choice after education.
You can use your education in your business.
Yes.
Yeah, I've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, use a lot of done it as well.
Yeah.
So you can, you know, education. No one's saying Parona is very important, in fact, to get an education because there's no harm in it. But you can use your education in your business. Yeah. So instead of being an accountant employed by someone, you can become a self-employed accountant and employ people instead. Yeah. So or which you can make money. Or instead of, you know, being an employed nurse, you can one day open your own nursing home and employ other nurses. And for it is a demand. So it's all about taking the next step. I suppose business यही होता कि या तुसी किसी लिए सारी उम्र काम करी जाओ या फिर तुसी सोचो नहीं मैं नेक्स्ट स्टेप बनना कि मैं थोड़ी तकलीफ काट लेनी है मैं अपनी बिजनेस करनी है एंड मैं होर लोगों लिए भी जॉब क्रिएट करनी है एंड I want to make the money that I used to make for somebody else. I suppose that's where we hit the nail on it. That's where a lot of business comes from, you know, and I suppose कईयां ਨੂੰ ਮਜਬੂਰੀ ਚ business ਖੋਲਣੀ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਹੈ because they come to the end of a job and then they've got nowhere else to go to, so they think, right, I have to become self-employed. And it works out for them, like I did. And for some people, they just think, right, actually, I just don't want to work for anyone. You know, I just can't take orders or, you know, whatever. No, it's true. And now, I'll be honest, I could never work for anybody again. So if someone said to me, right, we'll give you £2 lakh a year and you come and work for us, I'll be like, nah, man, I want my time off and I want to go home and I want to come in and I want to wake up at 8:30 and, you know, come in at late or, you know, or want to do my TV shows, I want to knock off early. So, but you know, you're out of the mentality of clocking in and clocking out. And I suppose every time you work hard and self-employed, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਲਈ ਪੈਸੇ ਕਮਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹਾਂ, right? ਮੈਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਲਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈਸੇ ਕਮਾ ਰਿਹਾ. So ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲੋਂ better feeling, there's no better feeling than when you work and make money for yourself. So, and there's, back to on Asian women, there's a lot of other stuff I was thinking about that Asian women actually do. We mentioned jewelry in the break. And kapre, clothing. And there's no reason. Now, when we used to go to buy Indian suits, when we were young, there always used to be a suit tala pai, didn't they? I noticed this, very rarely, right? And we were like in Ilford, so we were in the East London area. There only used to be like one orata, you know, and her name was Gurnammo Auntie. And if you're watching Gurnammo Auntie, and Dub Fashions it was called, right? And it was on Ilford Lane. It's just right down the other end towards the bar. And a lot of people now embarking going, yeah, we know Gurnammo Auntie. And she was the only Asian who I saw who was selling Indian clothes. And I thought, well, why are Bande selling Asian women clothes? Yeah. And then when I went to India, then I saw all the shops, they're just full of blokes. There's no women there, it's just Bande Bhatal there, BBG to see how hello from Chap, Bande all do business. And I thought, but I'm sure Bande was trying so hard to sell clothes to women. And I thought, I'm sure women could have done a lot better job. And so that's one of the reasons why Gurnammo Auntie shop was so popular, because all the women used to go there and there used to be like a Benji sort of mahal and everything, and it felt at home, you know, and the Bande would be like, right, is it full in there? So, and so Gurnammo Benji, you know, sort of khareed lo jo bhi hai. So it's like, but all the other shops didn't really see, sare Bande sige. And sometimes the sales assistants would be like girls from India, but you know, they wouldn't be the boss and even this, you know. So, but Gurnammo Auntie was her own boss. So that's so there's.
But she's leading the way for us.
Yeah, she was. Those other days, like 1980s. So it's like she was smashing it big time. She should have owned all of Ilford by now, technically.
And you know, this is the difference, Harjap. If she had been a man, she probably would.
Yeah.
I think, but there's definitely women there who are on that line now. We mentioned little Putter that I know you've.
Yeah, little bit.
So any idea, and they, you know, those girls came up with the idea because they saw English clothing and thought, well, why can't we have something that reflects our culture? We've got others, you know, I think of Gabby's on Soho Road. She's a young girl, she's designing and tailoring and doing some amazing stuff. So, but what our community need, perhaps more than any other communities, that we need to see other women doing it. We need to see other women
in charge.
And succeeding. And then we think, oh, we got ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ.
We need more women driving Bentleys down the road, giving it large, and saying, and the husband sitting in the back, and saying, "Tu hai na, Nana Sam, main Bentley chalani, meri Bentley ch baitha, mere paise." And this, and I tell you what, this is a mentality that men are scared of.
Yeah.
Oh, je meri ghar wali kamaun lag pai, je on sara kuch khareed liya, to main ki karunga? Main nappiyan launga. Yeah. So, but the fact is, it doesn't matter nowadays. कि पैसे कोई भी कमावे थोड़े चों कोई बड़ा फर्क नहीं पैंदा क्योंकि अजकल औरतां भी उन्ने पैसे कमाउंदियां हैं जिन्ने बंदे कमाउंदे आ तो औरतां दा भी हक बन सकदा कि वो बाहर जाके घर आके कमा सकदे हैं बिजनेस शुरू कर सकदे तुसीं अपने औरतां नूं सपोर्ट कर सकदे बिजनेस दे विच इहदे विच कोई शर्म नहीं महसूस होनी या हीनता नहीं तुसीं महसूस करदे कि जी असीं हुण अच्छा मेरी वाइफ मेरी बॉस होगी हुण मैं रसीदां कट के बना के दिया करूंगा ते इह चाह पी करूंगा इत्थे बट लिसन पैसे तो थोड़े घर नहीं होने इट डजंट मैटर सो केड़ा कमावे केड़ा नहीं बट गल तो अपॉर्चुनिटी दी है कई बारी औरत वो काम कर जाती है जो बंदे नहीं कर सकते बंदे का दिमाग सो बंदे का दिमाग जो कहते बिजनेस करिए कि अपने बंदे 99% व्हाट डू आई डू प्रॉपर्टी चल घर लैके बना के कर देंगे राइट सो दे विल डू दैट जे या सोचूगे चल मैं बिल्डर बन जाना यानी वही मिट्टी घट्टे वाला काम वी कांट गेट अ मेंटालिटी आउट ऑफ इट या फिर मैं पढ़ लिख के जे तुसीं पढ़ लिख के अकाउंटेंट डॉक्टर वकील बन सकते सो कैन अनौरत So, the main thing is जे थोड़े वाइफ को या थोड़े डॉटर को कोई ना कोई कला आ एंड कोई ना कोई उन्हें मन आइडिया आ तो उन्होंने सपोर्ट करना थोड़ा हक बनता कि वो पैसे थोड़े घर ही आने हैं वो बाहर जाके ये थोड़ी कि बंडे आने हैं अपने मम्मी डैडी को चोरी चोरी पाउन लगे ने I'm sure Rupinder doesn't I'm sure Panna doesn't well when she gets married she won't but, so I think it's that sort of mentality as well. Have you found that people who still live with their in-laws like the authors who live with their in-laws have got like a less chance of opening their business? Have you found that? What do you think? I think because my mum was thinking, okay, so if I was husband and wife living separately, she might suggest it to husband, get my business called Nia, and the husband might say, okay, that's a good idea. But if you've got like a sus in there as well, glabbo mussy type, and going, nahi, and a business karogi hai, hone baad बाहर जाया करूँगी घर को है तो न्याणे के सामने मैं नहीं मेरी बात से मैं नहीं सामने हूँ even like she does it all the time anyway but do you think there's sort of that also hinders a lot of women?
I think there's two things. It's generational, but I think you touched on a really good thing, a point around Asian men. When we did our research, we asked the women and we said, you know, who or what is holding you back? And we really thought they were going to say, banks aren't giving us the money, this, that. All of them said
husband.
All of them said Asian men. It's the really? Asian men in our community that are holding us back. And then I remember the one story where she's a very successful woman in Birmingham. She runs her own business, and she said, you know, my family and my in-laws actually don't know this business is mine. They think it's my husband's.
No way.
Yeah. And she's turning over 6 figures a year, but they. So what you and that really,
come to our family. We'll let you do whatever you want. Well, 10% of the day.
That really surprised Panna and I. I think that geography is a big difference. I think as you come out of London and head towards Midlands and up north, I think their view is a bit more traditional.
I was going to say that because as you go towards the Midlands, as you do, and usually I find the people a bit more dissy.
Yes.
And the more north you go, the more dissier.
Yeah,
so
right.
Therefore the views are a bit more, the vision is a bit more closed.
Yeah.
And in turn they will say, right, but ਤੁਸੀਂ modern ਬਹੁਤ ਹੈ London ਵਾਲੇ ਹੈ so ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਖਿਆਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਖੁੱਲੇ ਆ but I don't think there's anything modern in an Asian woman starting her own business. It's not modern. In fact, if anything, we're about 20, 30 years too late, aren't we? We've already we're missing the bandwagon. Like, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਦੀਆਂ white women now, like you said, Afro-Caribbean ladies, they're already doing it.
Yeah, they are.
They've already done it, and they're successful, and you know, they're on. You're right. They're on TV. Yeah. So, like the only Asian women, what Asian women cooks do we know? Like Mother Joffrey or Pataks, we know like. Right. So, I mean, but the equivalent compared to like white chefs, there's loads out there. So there's no reason. And what people don't understand is that there's opportunities now. The media actually want ethnic people to come forward. That's the media want ethnic people to come forward because they want to highlight, well, you know, they want to benefit the community. So it's not closed if anyone considers it. It's actually quite an open market to do what you want. And like you said, you was at the top of your game for 10 years. They didn't close you off being an Asian woman.
No.
So
I think now it's not too late.
Yeah.
We haven't missed.
It's never too late, right?
It's never too late. We haven't missed any bandwagon.
So don't worry, you still earn 6 figures.
I think with the reason we've come to the conclusion is that Afro-Caribbean and that community are excelling is because they've had networks in place. So there's probably at least 6 black women's networks in the UK where they come together, they encourage women, they talk to the banks, they talk to lenders, they give them business advice. And until we created Asian Women Mean Business, there was nothing for Asian women in the UK.
You trying to tell me Asian women aren't networked? We're all related to each other, Dana. Like, come on, Asia's got the best networks like going.
Well, networked within the family, but also what's interesting with the black women community is that they are very matriarchal as a community. So they're very kind of out there. They just go for it. They don't kind of hold back. They'll just go for it.
Their instinct is let's give it a shot, Anna.
Yeah, and they won't kind of think twice. Whereas Asian women, because we're kind of generally speaking, kind of submissive. We've got to be the chokri and all this.
We think about 8,000 times before we do something.
Right, and that's what we found with our research as well. That there's actually something around kind of culture, how we're brought up, but also confidence and how that's been relayed within the family, and the fact that you've got to find a status career, and once you've found a status career, then you find a great successful husband, and then you have children and that kind of thing. So people are kind of thinking, well, my path's already made there. What I'm making money, that kind of thing. So why bother?
From what it sounds, there's a lot of your research said there's sort of like a tradition of suppression, almost, but like subliminal. Hannah? So it's like the Asian women are being suppressed, but subliminal. So they know their role in society, and this is what the culture teaches them that your role is, and this is what they've got to do, and it just doesn't seem that they want to or they're able to rise sort of above that. And the people that we mentioned, they're rather they're exceptions, aren't they, to the rule? So they're exceptional. It's not the norm. So if you've got one Asian successful businesswoman, you've probably got thousands that haven't, right? That haven't done it. So it does seem to me that that's a big stumbling block. So now you're going to tell us, well, how do we overcome all these stumbling blocks? Because this is what Asian Women Means Business is all about, right?
Yes.
It's about helping women to get on their feet. So you're going to tell me, right, so je met Asian woman here, and I thought got on a good looking, like, tap all the lads in Southall. Next life, Asian road. So I can sit with my Panna and have the mutty and the jar, discuss business. But, so if an Asian woman came to you and said, right, Ben, do you have any business खोलना चाहती हैं? Right, मेरे को our idea. What things can you help with, or what tips would you immediately spring to mind?
Well, first of all, we would tell them to come to one of our events.
Okay.
And that's a really safe environment. So we have about 40 or 50 women there, and we have inspirational speakers. So women from our community that look like us, that share their story. And they're very truthful. They tell it how it is. There's no rose-tinted version of it. We have some very good partners in place. So the other thing is, the biggest thing that's holding women back after confidence and culture is money.
Right.
But legally, I think people think they need thousands of pounds to start a business.
Yeah, but don't you?
No, you don't. What we
business time खोल सकते हैं थोड़े को कट 50-60,000 pound होगा
No. Well, the first question
कितने चाहिए?
Depends on the business.
Okay.
And the first question we always ask is when they say to that to us, so what are you going to do with 50-60,000 pounds? So and actually usually they don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
So it's never been easier. First of all, if you've got an idea, it's never been easy to try that idea. Pehla dekho ta sahi, is there a market there for your idea? Are there customers that will pay you for your service?
Right.
Because if they're not going to pay you, that's not a business.
Forget it.
So don't do it.
It's a hobby.
Okay.
And that's what we ask as well. Is it a business or a hobby? Because I think a lot of people, they work and they do want to start their own business. So they're trying to do something on the side there, but they get everything in place, but they're not generating any money. And
we're going to get all your top tips in a second, but first we're going to go to a break. Milde hain break to baad. Saran sat sri akal ji aayanu. We're going to get some great advice from Asian women about business, general business karne hain. And look, listen, it's very important. Je tusi ghar baithe hain and tusi sare income chaਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੈਸਿਆਂ ਲਈ ਆਏ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੋਈ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਆਇਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਮੌਸਮ ਦੇਖਣ ਲਈ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਮੀਂਹ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਏ ਆਪਣੇ ਗਰਮ ਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਉਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਏ ਆ ਪੈਸੇ ਕਮਾਉਣ ਪੈਸੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਬੰਦਾ ਹੀ ਪੈਸੇ ਕਮਾਵੇ ਤੇ ਔਰਤ ਘਰ ਬੈਠੇ ਤੇ ਔਰਤ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਵੇ ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਦਾ ਜ਼ਮਾਨਾ ਬੜਾ ਮਾਡਰਨ ਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਦੇਖੋ ਤਾਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਦੋ ਜੀ ਕਮਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਐਂਡ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਲਈ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਲਈ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਕੇ ਅੱਕ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਦੈਨ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਸਟੈਪ ਇਜ਼ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਲਈ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਐਂਡ to make money which you're making for somebody else. That's the name of business. So we're with Rupinder and Panna, and ਅਸੀਂ tips ਦੱਸਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਸੀ about top 5 tips for Asian women who want to start a business. So go for it, Panna.
Okay, so the first tip that we would recommend is that you follow your passion.
Okay.
That you follow what you really want, not what somebody else has told you to do. Yeah. You follow what's true to yourself, because that's what's going to get you out of bed every morning.
So ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਕਰੋ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦਿਲ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਹੈ.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਲਈ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ, and ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ because we've left corporate careers and it is really hard. It is really hard to get going, get focused. And if you're not following your heart and you're not following something that excites you...
It's hard to motivate yourself. Yeah. And then so basically do something that you love. And so you'll enjoy on a daily basis. Because your business, and it won't be that easy then to leave afterwards and to say, right, I'm just not going to turn up for work the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, next one.
The next one is write it down.
Okay.
A lot of people have their goals and they have them in their head.
Yeah.
And they're just walking around and it's shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah.
Write your goals down and crystallise your goals and even put timelines in. So, for example, for Asian Women in Business, we do want to conquer the world. We do want to empower Asian women all over the world.
Get in line.
Yeah, get in line. But we have to put the goals in place. That's the big goal, and then you kind of have bite-sized goals that lead up to that big goal.
So जो भी idea थोड़े मन चाहे लिख लो ना, write it down, उन्हें note कर लो. ये ना सोचो कि हाँ मेरा idea है हो सकता नहीं. उन्हें लिख लो ताकि जो भी थोड़े idea है वो paper पे आए in front of you. Okay.
And sorry, just to add to that, another good thing with writing it down is when you're in business, you're getting pulled left, right, and centre.
Right.
Lots of people, you know, you're going to this networking event, doing this, that, and the other. If you've got it written down, it's going to bring you back to focus. So it's about focus as well.
Okay. Next tip.
Next tip is think big.
Tell your husband to start.
That's your first tip. Our next tip is think big.
Okay.
So, as cheesy as it sounds, the world is your oyster. A lot of women we find is that again it comes back to the cultural thing where we'll just do something a bit on the side.
You don't get to the top if you think small.
Exactly.
Right. So, अपना दायरा बड़ा बनाओ and अपने सोच नु बड़ी बनाओ and think big.
Yeah.
And ये ना सोचो कि मैं जी छोटे ये दायरे ची रहना, but why can't you take your ideas to other streams?
Yeah, and not only that, if you're thinking big, you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So, whereas if you're thinking small, you're just going to stay comfortable, and we're not big fans of comfortable.
See, that's a good tip generally in business, not just for Asian women, because like that's something that I'm.
Are you nicking that tip?
I'm going to nick that tip because that's something I've started to do. I'm going to start now, expanding all across to all the nationalities. Why should I sit here and just deal with Punjabis when there's Nigerians there to see, there's Brazilians there to see, there's Chinese to see.
Yep.
Yeah, the only thing stopping back is the language, but that I clung here to talk like that. So, but yeah, like you've got to expand your horizons. You have to see अपना यही सोचूंगे कि मैं तो ऐसी दायरे च रहना, then that's all you become good for.
That's right.
Yeah. So, right, any other tips?
The next one is, so that's great that you've got all that in place.
Yeah.
The next thing you need to do is you need to take action.
Right.
So go out there and start your business.
Okay.
Start networking, start talking to people, start sharing your ideas with people.
Right.
Take action in the sense of things like finding customers.
Research your business, research your area where you're going to open your business in.
Put it out on social media. I think a lot of women as well, that they hold back because they think, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, it's not really.
It's not me, Or I'll just test the water and then I'll just, if you get a no, for example, especially coming from sales, a lot of people just stop at that. No. Okay,
sales is one of the hardest things I've seen. It's quite, it's very good, and you get a lot of knockbacks. You need to be really confident in sales. If you get knocked back a few times, then you begin to think, right, maybe I haven't got it, and all the doubts creep in and stuff like this.
But actually, I don't see it like that. I see that's life at the end of the day. You're always getting no's in every day. It's just a case of just getting through it. And a no doesn't mean it's not personal. It's just no at that time. So just keep taking action, keep being persistent, keep moving forward. And you have your down days. That's normal.
But your job too, you can have a down day in a job at work.
Exactly. So take action. And then the last one
is something that we're very, very passionate about is build your support network.
Okay.
Get out there and meet like-minded people.
Okay.
Find people who are going to support you on your path. It is so hard when you're doing the kind of thing that we're doing, and other people have started the business because, especially with our community, they want to pull you back into, go back to your day job, go back to 9 to 5. Why are you doing that? So it's really important that you meet like-minded people. We think there's nothing better than a support of a woman. And if you have another woman who has your back, you can take on the world. So get out there and support. Join our network. Come to our events. Find people who understand you, understand your culture, and respect that, but also understand you want to be a success in business, and we'll push the barriers there for you as well.
Is there any truth that Asian community jehdi hai oh ek duje nu happy dekh ke ya successful dekh ke happy nahi, and they try and pull each other back? I mean, is there an element of that you found, or do you think that happens in every community?
I'm sure it does happen in every community. We can only talk about our community. Yeah. This came up quite a lot comes up quite a lot in our talks.
Research and all that. Yeah.
And a lot of women talk about this and say.
I see it a lot. Yeah. I see it a lot, and I assume that Asian women would see it. As well.
But you know, Harjap, it's really interesting because a lot of women come to us and say women aren't supportive. Asian women aren't very supportive of each other. They're very catty. There's very competition. Yeah. We don't find that because we, I think, don't accept that. So if you are coming to our event, if you come to meet with us, if you are part of our network, you have to understand it's about collaboration. Right. So, you know, Panna and I, we could have done this separately. Yeah. I could have done my thing, she could, but we came together and made it happen. It actually made it happen a lot bigger than it would have been individually. Yeah. There's so much power in coming together, and a lot of our community are finding that. But
that's with everyone.
Yeah, that's not for
also, on the group, the member, you've got like quite a few members. You've got bank managers in there. You've got a fitness expert in there. You've got a chiropractor in there. You know, so you've got people from all across the spectrum, really. And I suppose, so if you need someone, then you've always got someone. Like, you've got someone in every profession you can go to. And all of that's just through coming to the events and getting together.
And social media has been very powerful for us. So we have got women who are part of our network who come from different backgrounds. So Dal Dhaliwal, she's the first Indian gym owner in the UK. She's very supportive, but she's entrepreneurial. So you might not want to have personal fitness advice, but you could speak to her and say, actually, Dal, how did you do this? And she'll be happy to support that. And we have other people who have done very different things. What we try to do is find women who are doing different things and shine a spotlight and show that anything is possible.
See, I wanted to ask you, so what about women, Asian women, and I got a tweet about this from someone who does a blog, British Asian woman, there you go, mention you. But what about, say, Asian औरतें जो बंदे वाली जॉब करना चाहती हैं? So like DJs, जिन्ने भी DJ है ब्याह ते सारे मुंडे हुंदे हैं, right? बहुत घट मैं तो देखे नहीं आज तक कोई female DJ. Okay. But so, are there any female DJs? Why can't DJ ne ki karna hunda? We had, you know, Calabar from the other week, and the lighting and set that stuff up. But there's no reason a woman can't do that.
No.
So why aren't there Asian women DJs? A lot.
Well, there is.
How many?
I can think of a couple of straight away. I can think of DJ Nav in West Midlands.
Okay.
And she does that. If you look at BBC Asian Network, you have the DJs on there. You've Susie's on there, Susie Mann, DJ
Noreen's on there,
on there. They are there, but it's like anything, you know, when you break into an industry, and I actually know someone who's a photographer. She does Asian weddings,
Really?
And it's really interesting. She said it's not a very welcome environment. So and that's I think the case with anything. If you go into an industry where there's a lot of men, they don't necessarily make you feel welcome.
So it's come back down to the Asian men making people, Asian girls.
Yeah. That mentality.
And I think
Asian men making Asian women uncomfortable from year 000.
But there's something about, I think, especially the Asian wedding market, which is a very lucrative market.
See, Asian ਵਿਆਹ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਲੇਡੀ ਸੰਗੀਤ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ, right? ਬੰਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ ਲੇਡੀ ਸੰਗੀਤ, ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ, ਪਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਸਾਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ. ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਵਧੀਆ ਸੰਗੀਤ ਕਰਦਾ ਨਾ, like ਜਾਗੋ ਗਿੱਧਾ ਗੁੱਸਾ ਸ਼ਾਈਨ. but ਬੋਲੀਆਂ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ, all the ones. but ਹੁਣ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਮੂਵੀ ਆ ਬਣਾਉਣੀ, ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿੱਖਣਾ ਪਿਆ ਕਿ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਰਸਮ ਹੋਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਆ, ਕਿਹੜੇ ਤਿਉਹਾਰ ਹੋਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਆ, ਤਾਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉਹ ਫਿਲਮ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਰਾਈਟ? ਪਰ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਪਤਾ. So why can't ਔਰਤਾਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਬਣਾ ਸਕਦੇ? I've seen one lady, a camera woman, on a Asian wedding. I think she was from the Midlands.
Yes, I think there is one.
Yeah, but you know, so that's something they can break into.
Yep.
And instead of just doing the stuff like with the mehndi and the makeup, the makeup to sare bane hua. There's a phrase mua, isn't it? Mua. And I'll tell you my story about muas. मैं पहले सोचा कि जब Facebook ते गया, so every other girl's name had mua And I thought, hey, can I go to a mua? So I went to ask my dad. I said, Dad, can I go to a mua? It sounds a bit like Chinese. It's not Indonesia, Thailand, Thailand. He goes, man, and then I just asked someone, I said, as a woman called Rena, I said, what's the mua mean? How come you got two surnames? You know, like, what's the mua? And it must be like a massive bend because like there's about 3,000 of you on Facebook all Asian. She goes, no, mua the makeup artist. And I said, oh, thodi, and I don't know what mua is. Yeah. But yeah, so there's a lot of muas out there.
They are.
Hannah? Yeah. But there's not necessarily, so cameraman, drivers, why can't the chauffeur be a woman?
Yeah.
Hannah?
Yeah.
So the chauffeur can be a woman. The caterers, you know, I've very rarely seen Asian women waitress, but the boss once again is a banda. Yeah. So I have yet to see like women-owned Asian caterers company. And catering which the paise, DJ which the paise, video the which the paise. So all this Asian weddings which kinne paise there's loads of money to be made. Yeah. Some people make up to £20,000 on an Asian wedding, £30,000 every weekend. Every weekend come on but so Asian women once again, they know that inside this whole game inside out, but they're just not coming forward. It's that.
No, they're not. And I think if you spot a market and if there's then they should go for it.
Listen, I'm telling you, if you're an Asian woman, you to see business करनी है, ब्याह का काम तो सी शुरू करो, catering, सारा काम तो सी शुरू करो, get video camera, do that, DJ शुरू करो, you will make a lot of money. You make a lot of money, trust me. A lot more than I will, yeah. That's my business tip. But because बाहरों आके होर कंपनियां थोड़े culture तो पैसे बना रहे हैं. So like car hire and stuff like that. Why can't Asian women do car hire? And, all right, you need a lot of money to do it, but you know, you can start off slowly with doing it. You can lease a car out and then go and rent that out and stuff like that. But once again, maybe they're too shy, or maybe they're thinking I haven't got the time, or maybe they're thinking, right, it's not done. I just don't know, something's holding them back there. Or maybe up until now they haven't had the right network, or maybe just haven't someone to give them the bit of the push and the confidence, and to say, when I did my business, I had my dad to say that, look, koi gal nahi, do that push, and if my dad wasn't there, perhaps I wouldn't be doing my own business. And you lot have obviously had someone as well to push you and say, right, do it properly. Right? Someone has, but maybe some of the orta, instead of getting pushed, they're getting discouraged. Right. And so perhaps that's what it is. But to be honest, the market is khulli hai to do what you want. Thwade culture aake baharle culture are making money, and even thwade culture de बंदे ये पैसे कमा सकते हैं, औरतां क्यों नहीं पैसे कमा सकती? आइडिया तो थोड़े मोरे है कि कितों पैसे कमाने कितों नहीं, and it's just a matter of making money, I suppose, going out and doing it.
Yeah, there is. I mean, there's a very good Asian wedding planner in the Midlands, based in the Midlands, Parvi Rakar. I think she's done very well in this short period of time. There's a few others that are coming. What we think happens is you need one person who sets the standard and who leads the path, and and I think that we're starting to see that shift now. What I would say to the Asian men who are part of those businesses is don't treat those women as competition. Welcome them. You started from somewhere. So just remember
someone welcomed you. Basically.
Exactly. So just welcome them, and to the women, do it.
I've got another tip. You have to go out and do well, and the people that are doing well, Bentley and Low and Hummers. You go down Southall, Broadway, you see a woman driving a Hummer, I guarantee it will be at 20 women going, मैं Hummer मैं business करके शुरू करना, मैं Hummer. देखना, अब फलानी जगीरो Hummer च फिरदी सी, पहले तो बस च जांदी सी number 82 च, हम देख Hummer लेके फिरदी है, चंगे पैसे कमा ले. But yeah, this is exactly, and अपने बंदे got a thing about Reese and paid Chal, you know, and so once you're right, you just need someone to go around. I think give it a bit of large and a bling sort of motor and say, look, I've got this. My 8 bedroom का कर ले ले, हम मैं flats नहीं आंदी constantly. But yeah, so लोग तरक्की देखते हैं, तो उन्हें देख के.
Well, I mean, I think there's probably are women out there that are budding DJs, videographers, caterers, whatever it may be. But it's exactly what you said. Is that you know, and we'd welcome them. We'd you know, come forward and join us on Asian Women Mean Business on our Facebook page and our Twitter chat. We'd strongly encourage that, because that's what we want to do, is develop that entrepreneurial
You do a weekly
spirit.
Twitter chat on Wednesdays.
We do, 7 till 8.
So we're a bit bored. Who knew joined the gang? The gang, anybody who
Well, it's from the comfort comfort of your home,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
you can, you know, put
Yeah,
the kids
so
to bed and you can
start-
join our Twitter chat. But we have got the network out there. We've got the social media platform, so
Facebook page, Asian Women Mean Biz. Twitter, Asian Women Mean Biz.
Hashtag.
You could see it. Yeah, you could see it all on my Facebook page today. They're tagged in everywhere, and on my Twitter, they're tagged in everywhere. Well, first of all, thank you for coming down.
Thank you.
And time's up, so we have to leave it here. But please come in the future. And also, if you have any people in your organisation who want to come as guests, and if you've got something to share with our audience and information to give them, more than happy to use this as a platform. You wanted a platform, I'll give you the platform.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
There you go. That's what this show is all about. सारे नु platform देवांगे. चलो, मैं as Friday होना नहीं कि मैं चले जापान. And you're going to say Japan? हाँ, उत्थे भी फौजी हैगे आ जापान. कल्ले तुसी नहीं आया. तुसी नहीं आया कल्ले साउथ हाल बर्मिंघम. सारे फौजी सारे किते बैठे हैं. नहीं, मेरा उत्थे कॉन्फ्रेंस है इंटरनेशनल वकीला दा. उत्थे तां चलना पर उत्थे मिल पैने जरूर जापान. So anyone in Japan who wants to meet me, नाले दिवाली जापान च मनावांगे, थानू दिखा लांगे, फिल्मिंग करके आवांगे. So I won't be here for next week, पर उस तो बाद मिलांगे. फिलहाल मेरे वालों from Rupinder and Panna and Asian Women Mean Biz. सत श्री अकाल.